My first question is like, how is this different than the best ChatGPT model that we have? It's not a step change. It's not like, here's this new freaking crazy thing that you could never do before. It's just kind of slightly better all the stuff it already did.
Like, what is there that AI can't really do at this point in time to some degree?
If you really think about it, the only difference between like somebody who really crushes it and someone that doesn't is just... Mr. Nick, how's it going, broski?
Fantastic, broski. Good to see you. Looking like a freaking meat popsicle as per usual.
Dude, I'm ready. Dude, International Chest Day today, bro. What can I say? Every day is International Chest Day.
You ever like, no, I mean, this is literally what you're doing right now, but you ever like think, just as a man, okay, because I have these thoughts all the time. I could just like fall off the face of the earth and then come back in 6 months ripped as hell. Like just unbelievably ripped. Like I think Mac in It's Always Sunny or something like that.
Maybe you got to like go through your breakup, like break up with your chick. Like that's the cost for the perfect physique, dude. You got to go, babe. I'm sorry, man. I got to end this right now. I'm going to come back like Bane or something crazy, dude.
That sounds terrible. Ain't no way.
No, you can't do it, man. You got to find some motivation. It's like it's a funny one actually, dude. Like because I was thinking of this question about like personal branding, right? And I think like a lot of people now are pushing like their fitness aspect, and I'm all for it, dude. I love talking about like health. I think it's cool. Because I don't think people go to one person for one thing. I think that's how you become like on 2D. You know what I mean? Like having those conversations.
Interesting. Like, the dude that you follow is also your health guru, and he's your business guru, and he's your relationships guru, and so on and so forth. I feel like that's how you get it.
He's moving in next week. Yeah, it's like, do you know what's really funny, dude? Is like these like quirky parts of your personality. For example, there was a guy who, he got embroiled in controversy, this guy online, but I remember a buddy of mine said like, he found out one piece of information about this guy, and it was the fact that he freaking loved Iron Man. Like that was and he was like, I really like this guy now. And when I found, bro, when I meet with people from my community, the thing that they riff with me on more is just some offhanded comment I made about some very controversial, politically charged comment. I know it's not that controversial.
It always has to be politically controversial with you, doesn't it, Jack?
It's like I said, we ban everything. But they people just seem to resonate with that. I thought it was an interesting bit. I said it because I was looking at some branding stuff, but it's very, very cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I make these like throwaway comments every now and then about how I like various animes. So my favorite anime of all time is Vinland Saga, for instance. And then I just find like most of the emails and like direct comms that I receive from people will mention that in some way, shape, or form.
Is that interesting?
Like, dude, also a huge Vinland Saga fan. Anyway, I run an agency that does $50 quadrillion, and I had a question. I'm like, what the hell? So I think when you like just be a little more transparent about your niche interests and the stuff that you care about, like you do tend to find your people.
People want that. People like that stuff. Yeah, I get MMA a lot. A lot of people love the fact I do MMA. Like that comes up quite a lot. But it's like people should lean into that a little more. Like this is one of my whole philosophies on like content, and this actually connects a lot to some of the AI stuff we're going to touch on today. But this idea of like, this is why, for example, being an AI news guy isn't great, because it's a fundamentally transactional relationship with your audience. They come to you, they get their daily serving of news, and then they're out of here, they're gone. Like there's no real value transference, and there's also, they're not really getting to know who you are. So I just think like as a concept for creators, that's an interesting one to mull around with a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that journalists are like Twitter rappers now. You know, it's like AI news people are just like AI newsletter rappers in a nutshell. Yeah. It's like, do you have any more value than that?
But that's one of the reasons why initially when I was thinking about content, I was thinking to make his videos. And I was like, nah, I don't think that's the room. But dude, we've had a lot of crazy stuff happening in AI this week, dude. The biggest one, did you see the AI agent landing in ChatGPT?
Yeah, dude. I actually just used that like 10 minutes before this call and queued it up on a task to find me a bunch of flights for a trip that I'm thinking of going on with a girlfriend.
Okay, that's cool, man. I love that. What's your take on it so far?
Seems reasonable. I mean, it did way better than Operator did at the equivalent task, because I also tested Operator alongside it. Way better than vanilla ChatGPT or GPT 4.0, for instance. So yeah, like it actually did pretty well. I would say it did probably 90% as well as I could have on that equivalent task. It just took a little bit longer. And then Like, I went through like the activity log or whatever while it was happening, and I just noticed that it was doing a couple of the same things over and over and over and over again. But I mean, like, who gives a shit about that, dude? You could scale up 100,000 of these things, run them in parallel, and do whatever the hell you want. It's amazing. So
Dude,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Well, dude, I haven't tried it yet, so I can't give an honest opinion of it because it's on. I don't know if the US cap some of the stuff sometimes, but the thing I watched the 27-minute demo, admittedly on 2x speed, and I was like, okay, my first question is like, how is this different than the best ChatGPT model that we have to answer? And what's really funny is that like that information, you have to really dig for that thing because I think it's like they want to name it like the ChatGPT agent. In reality, it's kind of it's a new UI, shows you like it's searching websites, but it already could search websites. It is supposedly a little bit better in some benchmarks, which is a good improvement. But my kind of takeaway from it, bro, is that like it's not got a new it's just slightly better at a lot of the stuff that it already does. It's not changing it's not a step change. It's not like here's this new freaking crazy thing that you could never do before. It's just kind of slightly better at all the stuff it already did.
Well, could I ask you kind of a pointed question? Like, what is there that AI can't really do at this point in time to some degree?
I think that depends on the use case, but it's like, it's not like when they call it an agent, like I get the fact, like, I don't know what it's doing necessarily that makes this more of an agent than the last one. It's supposedly the fact that it can go and autonomously take actions. Like if it can go and buy things and do the booking, which I'm not sure it can do, but if it could do that, then that's something that, it's like, I'm on about like from a functionality perspective, like one things it can't do right now. I can't say to it, book me, like, here's my parameters, go and book me a flight to the UK. It cannot do that at the moment. If it could, that'd be freaking cool. That would be a new thing. But it's like, there's this sort of tension of trying to be, you've got to capture headlines, right? Because it's like ferociously competitive, just the same as any niche, right? So it's sort of like the lovable agent came out, and I was like, okay, interesting. What is it actually? Oh, it just kind of costs slightly less than one credit. I was like, okay. I mean, like, it's a little bit better, but it wasn't like, I was like, it wasn't like a step. It wasn't like, maybe it's just because people get hyped at new stuff and stuff. I guess it's like, it's tough to make these big step changes like we talked about before, but yeah, I don't think it redefines the art of what's possible at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that, your point about being able to, let's say, like actually book the flights for you with some reasonable degree of congruence with your actual desire, not books you some $45,000 business class flight with a 43-hour layover or some shit. I think that's probably like the last remaining thing. But like I'm just thinking about it, and I was running through this question in my head too, and I was like, what is there that AI can't actually do at this point? And I think it can do basically everything to some degree. It's just a matter of making it better at this point. And this was the core thesis of this video I made recently, which the whole point to the TLDR was that AI doesn't make things possible. It just makes things profitable. It just makes things significantly faster, essentially. Because like, to be honest, like text is the universal interface. And we kind of solved that like 3 or 4 years ago now when ChatGPT dropped. You could theoretically do all of the stuff that we're doing now with the browser moving the mouse around and clicking just through text. So it's not necessarily that this is like made anything at all possible. And I don't think that AI is really going to make things possible. Like, hell, you could totally wire up a model right now to like buy a direct flight. It's just the question is, do you want it to, right? Like,
do you want it to? I want to give them budgets, Nick. I want to give them like little budgets, go forth and like, you can make any decision you think is reasonable within this price range. And we cap it. You've got a budget. Dude, maybe we could one for a podcast, bro.
And that's how the whole world turns into paperclips, Jack. It's you, man.
Right. Maybe it's what we need to do, dude. But if we had like the AI podcast agent and we said, Nick and Jack, we're going to give it $1,000 and it can just freaking do what it wants to do with $1,000. Like it can go and buy, it can like book flight, whatever it is. I think that's cool. And you can assess its budget and you can give it feedback. And like, that was quite okay. We didn't need 900 cream cakes, 2 would have been fine. And we give it feedback and we iterate. Like I don't mind that. And then you can set your budget preferences. I tell you one slight tangential question I want to throw out there is inefficiencies in the market, right? Like this whole trading thing, like I never fully understood why you would learn, like why somebody would teach you trading. Because my logic's always kind of been like, if you can consistently deliver an ROI of trading, you get 5% on your monthly income, you'd scale that to $1 billion, right? Like if it was truly a consistent thing that you could do, everyone would become an infinite billionaire, right? So I never really understood that. But the thing is, like, every time a new technology comes out, you try to find a market inefficiency. There's an equation that came out a little while ago. I won't say it because I might butcher it. But the idea is it identified an efficiency in the market, and the market is incredible at adjusting to them. At what point do we have some AI technology that is so far advanced in its niche particular field that it identifies something that does actually identify like an efficiency in the market, like an actual novel application? Because people have already built like these AI trading bots, right, bro, where they can just trade for you like gold, the cryptos and stuff. But I don't think anyone's cracked like a true, like we've got a super intelligence now that's like going to hack the market and find these cool opportunities.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, like, to what degree has that already been done? I'm reading Principles by Ray Dalio now. And I mean, for the last 35, 40 years, he's been developing, like trading algorithms, essentially, like market consensus algorithms. And I think the reality is like, human intelligence applied to this thing over the last 30 or 40 years has actually built in like algorithms that do detect market inefficiencies and then fill them like procedurally very quickly. So the degree to which AI will be able to come in and like immediately exploit all these market inefficiencies, like I honestly don't know. I feel like we've done like a pretty good job of it already. I think like most of these big curves have already been smoothed out, and those inefficiencies will be like very minor, if at all. To what degree do you actually need human intelligence when it's all like, to what degree do you need the simulation of human intelligence, which is what AI is, when like statistics does the job for you? I don't know. It's an interesting point though. And yeah, on that point about trading, I had somebody in my group, one of my groups, talk about trading the other day. He's like, I'm spending all this time learning trading. Do you guys think it's a good idea? And I was just like, I've just never seen somebody consistently make a ton of money with it on the come up. When I was like 18, 19, a bunch of my friends and stuff were all like getting into trading. They're like, Nick, you got to get into trading, dude. You got such like a good mind for this stuff. You'd crush it. And I'm like, yeah, I might. But something just seemed wrong in my head, kind of similar to what you, I guess, are thinking, where it's just like, well, like I feel like if this were actually a way that you could make like outsized returns for a very long period of time, like people would probably do that. What I think is more probable, just my first gut intuition at the time was like, well, you can spot some market opportunities, but then when you win with something that is that like stochastic or like there's so much chance involved, the probability that the next time you want to make money, you're going to just do the same thing again is really high. So then you're probably just going to piss all of your money away. It's like if you go to the casino for the first time and you make like $100,000, what are you doing next week, right? Like you're fucking going back to the casino. But anyway,
100%. Yeah.
So this whole trading analogy, I was just like, well, like what kind of investment are you going to get in the market, right? Like let's say you do the 5% month incremental returns. How much more would you just get if you took all that money and just put it in yourself, Like, man, dude, I get like 30% monthly returns. First of all, if you're getting a 5% monthly return on any investment, you're like a genius wizard god, right? Yeah. So realistically, it's like, 1% a month or whatever. But it's like, dude, I like consistently have gotten like 10 to 20% on myself every month for the better part of the last like 10 years. Like I'm doing the math, like legitimately the math, Jack, while answering this guy's question.
Legit math.
I'm just like, legit math. And I'm like, dude, like if I'm getting a specific return on investment, investing in myself, and I think I said I got like a 500% ROI investing in myself per year over the course of the last 5 years. At the end of it, I'd be at like a 3,000x my initial investment. And I did the math, Jack, and I was actually kind of on point with that. I was like, oh yeah, that is about 3,000x.
You kind of like bullet point it, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean, man? Like dude, screw the trading, dude. Go double down on providing value. Like that's where it's at. If you can provide value to people, you'll make infinite money.
If you really think about it, the only difference between like somebody who really crushes it and someone that doesn't is just the action they take with the same information. It's like at some point you get presented with information, you either go left or you go right, and you just have to make a logical decision on it. It's just the people that keep doing that again and again and again, they're the ones that win eventually. It's like I like you at some point decided to create content, right? I did at some point. Like, I think the information upon which we made that decision has been presented to many people. Not everyone has taken the decision to do that. And that's not saying that everyone has to create content. I'm just using an example, right? It's just at some point they've got to take the action steps, which actually is why we talk a lot about market, right, bro? I think it's like only the top 2% of traders make more than the minimum living wage or something like that. And if you just think about that, like logically, why would you be in anything where you've just to make what you'd make flipping them burgers, man, you've got to be in the top 2% to do. It's not it's not a big galaxy brain move, bro. It's not like the most intelligent thing ever to do. So yeah, on a massive tangent, dude, before we get into some cool new stuff, dude, I'm rocking down, the SaaS route, bro. And that's something that we're building on the side now, which is very, very cool. So, I'm really excited about that. I'm very bullish on the technology. And I was just doing some math today on like estimating, and I'll just share it with the audience because I think it's like helpful to know. Like we're doing an alpha, with 30 users and essentially stripping down all the complexity, to a very, very cool basic product to get something that people can actually use, experiment with. The stuff this is going to be able to do, Nick, is going to be freaking amazing. I don't mean this as a premise. I just mean this as like, just to share the thought process of how we're actually launching it. Stripping it down, super clear cut, alpha 30 users to get feedback. But we went through the journey today to think about what is the absolute minimal viable product? What does success look like? And then we've kind of sketched out an alpha, a beta, and then a launch. And it has to hit certain criteria to go through each of those three things. But what's cool is just working out the unit economics at the beginning in terms of what's the cost to serve per user, what's the average cost going to be, what pricing is it going to be, blah, blah, blah. So it's very, very cool. And I'm very excited about it.
What does it do, Jack?
It's dictation. So you press a button, you speak, and it appears. But it's much more than that. It'll also be agentic. So it functions as Google and ChatGPT. So you could say, hey, dude, what's the weather like in Annecy right now? Hey, Nick, it's 27 degrees. So you don't even need to click on Google anymore. You don't even need to go to ChatGPT. It can do things for you like that. So it's like one button access to everything. And then it'll have loads of other cool agentic stuff that it can do. And it's just going to be way better at its core functionality for dictation. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. We've also got the stream mode in it as well. So it'll just like stream and like listen and stuff. And then we're going to add on new things. But I was really keen on like, it sells itself just in dictation. The agentic stuff is cool. That's like a kind of a cool USP directionally, but it really sells itself just from dictation. So it needs to be really amazing. You got to be, I mean, if you look at the school product, right? Like Sam Ovens founded it. He's got a really small team. He's got guys that worked at NASA, right, as engineers. He pays them $100,000. He still makes every single product decision to this day. He doesn't have a product team. So he has schematics on Figma. That's how they design stuff. You need to have this love of the product and be a power user. So all that to say, dude, yeah, it's been fun to do. I didn't expect that I would do this again. I thought it'd be a few years before I dust off the SaaS thing, but dude, it's really cool, man. So yeah, very cool.
What's the setup like? So obviously it's going to be a small, lean team. I know you get inspiration from like the small, lean, nimble teams like school. You going to be you in a dev for now, or is it just going to be you? Or are you like vibe coding this whole thing, or like what's the structure like?
You got three people that are really mean to the people, very, very like believe in the product massively, and we're just doing it. The rate of change is crazy. I'll tell you something that this is okay. You'll really love this, dude. Logos, like I place such a high emphasis on design and stuff, and just to show you like the experience doing something a second time round. Logo, for example, right? One of the best principles that Amazon has that I believe in is like disagree and commit, which is like, I think X, you think Y. Okay, we'll get further if I don't agree with it, but let's just back it and do it type of thing. You can always change it later. And that's how we've been able to get like really high decision making velocity on stuff. Like the logo may not be perfect, the name might be perfect, but cool, let's set it and then we can address this later down the line. So it's very, very small. And the guys doing the back end and the app development and stuff, I've got like a team, they just deploy that. And then everyone just kind of throws in and proactively just like does loads of crazy stuff. So yeah, I think it's often like with these things, it's so easy to drown in detail, but when you have very clear roadmap of what you want to do, it's very obvious. And then we'll probably just install a CEO to run it when it hits X number of users. I'm very, very confident in the product. I think it's going to be a direction as well. Like Whisperflow, guys, has just secured $30 million in funding. For example, another app will get Aqua. They're now backed by Y Combinator. There is a lot of. It's like, yeah, it's a very, very interesting space. It's a very, very interesting space.
Yeah, it definitely seems directionally correct. Like when I'm thinking about, how much better the technology can get. It's like, how much better can the technology get, really, like the core intelligence of the models. We just talked about earlier how they can do more or less anything. So now it's just about how do we maximize the user experience and then like maximize the bandwidth of your ability to use the technology. So this seems to me like a pretty logical step and like quite the need, in all honesty. That's fine. Yeah, dude, I'm excited.
It's cool. It's also like cool thing like sound engineering. Like, what's the sound it make when you press it? And I love Infinity War. Like, you know, when Thanos gets like the Infinity Stones, like that.
Yeah.
It's like my kind of vibe.
Was incredible. Dude, that whole freaking movie. Yeah.
I freaking love that movie. I used to have my Infinity Gauntlet behind me, actually. I need to bring that. I need to get that back out here and stuff. But it's all that aside, bro. It's also cool just to build cool shit. Because I think it's like in content sometimes, I think as well, like it's like you've got you can share what you've done, but then it's like, okay, cool, let's go do some more cool stuff and then share how you did it if you go. So, dude, very, very cool. And if I can make it Infinity Gauntlet sounding, then I think that's a true success we can all celebrate now.
Just Thanos' voice. Dude, Destiny arrives. Click.
Dude, but do you know what's funny about that movie? It was like, I have never been as hyped for a movie as that movie. Dude, going into it, like my hype levels were like freaking, like I was so stoked to watch that, dude. It was so sick.
Yeah, man. I was there with my buddy and his dad, and they were like, "You want to watch Infinity War?" And I was like, I mean, okay. Yeah. And then they were just both really into it. And because they were so into it, I got more into the Marvel cinematic universe. I'm not going to lie, like that, like, not to spoil it for anybody that hasn't watched it, but like the last few minutes of that, I was like, you can't do that in a film. You're not allowed to do that in a film. You know what I mean?
No.
But they did. And damn, is it awesome.
Yeah. Maybe we can spoil it because it's been quite a while. But it's like, yeah, they killed everyone up. It's like the Marvel really went downhill after that. If you notice, like, it's because the key thing about any movie is you got to have stakes. Like, I've got to believe that it matters. If I don't believe it matters, if you can just, oh, sorry, no, that's not happening anymore. We're bringing everyone, I don't know, like, you
can. I know.
Once, right? And after that, dude, it's like, you got me once. You can't get me twice. But this is the thing with selling products, right, Nick? It's like, do you sell a false bill of goods? You can do that to anybody once. You're never going to build like anything of significance if that's how you run things.
Definitely. It is pretty interesting hearing your thoughts on that, because in my head, I was just like, wow, this is the boldest move I've ever seen. And I'm really stoked that like Thanos won. Like, that's awesome, you know? And it was new and it was exciting and it was fresh. But at the back of my head, I was like, all right, there ain't no way that they can keep this up. Obviously, they're going to try bringing people back. No. And then at the end, when they were like, oh, like the time machine, I was like, time machine, huh? Yeah. Oh, boy. Here we go again with this bullshit. And then I'm like, come on, do I really care about like what Spider-Man is doing? You know, like, I don't know. His like day-to-day slice of the life. Yeah, like, oh, Tony is developing a new thing. I'm like, dude, he just like thunder snapped half of the fucking universe into nothingness and they're all back now. Yeah, but anyway, I think we can both agree that Infinity War was freaking awesome. That was a great film.
It was awesome. Like, I actually thought it was one of the most motivational movies out there. Actually, it's very, very like he's got a because he's not a villain in his own perspective, right? But he has this like mission. He's like, he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing, and like he goes on his conquest and just capturing. So I often like in my like team, like that's the analogy I often use is like capturing Infinity Stones. It's like we'll just like it's like one by one to get like Infinity Stones in project.
Dude, he was Space Hitler. That mustache is getting a little thin over here. What the hell, man? Collecting Infinity Stones? We need to disappear the people that we
need to snap out half of the world's existence. Yeah, exactly. But you know, he was just trying to help out. Right. He was just trying to, just help out the universe. What's wrong with that? Yeah. He's just trying to help people out, dude. Dude, did you, on the subject of Thanos, dude, did you hear that Perplexity got some cool investment?
No, is this for Comet for their browser?
No, so they've raised some more funds. A billion valuation, bro.
Still at $1 billion, eh? You know, like, I'm not gonna lie, man. When I heard about web search coming out, I was like, I guess that's it for Perplexity. You know, I mean, they got an awesome team and it was like a fantastic product. But then I was also like, hey, what is the core moat here? And it's the fact that you can do search, right? And then when GPT came out with it like natively embedded, I was like, all right. So to me, it made sense that they swapped to Comet and like tried like building this like agentic browser capability. And I was like, that's pretty dope. But like, we're still raising it $1 billion.
It's insane, dude. It's actually crazy. I mean, like, this is kind of like the macro trend I'm touching on with the SaaS. It's like many things line up for this. If you think of it, right, ChatGPT can do everything Perplexity. The only niche, the only benefit it had is it could internet search. But they must have known that the second that ChatGPT adds that, you would just kind of just use ChatGPT anyway. So I would say, well, what was the actual value of Perplexity? Really? Like, apart from the fact that some people already have like, are using the API, maybe they've got subscriptions. There's no real moat to it, at least that I'm aware of as a consumer, that they had. So then they built a browser, but that's to get $100 million funding on the idea of a browser. That kind of browser thing sounded like, ChatGPT, let's just run it out. Like, it didn't seem like that was ever core to the product. So how they've raised $100 million is, to me, tells me that, what that suggests to me is that there's so much goodwill in the AI investment space that if they get something that even kind of potentially might make good sense, they go for it. Funny thing on that, by the way, bro, as well, is that these labs, these VC firms, would rather have a company that has a 1% chance of becoming Facebook than a company that has like a 60% chance of doing very modest numbers. Like, they actively want that cosmic carrot, that kind of, I'm using an Infinity War kind of language here. They want that kind of infinity carrot, Nick, to dangle the opportunity of the hockey stick graph, like those two companies that paid for the 20 flops that they had. And it's like, if you are someone who wants to raise fund, you've got to think of a vision that could be used by 1 billion people. Like, that's the kind of pathway that they really want. If you want to get to that Silicon Valley funding, it's get exciting.
Yeah, it's so fundamentally different, I think, from a lot of what I know about in the agency and like the info space, where the most important thing is like stable, reliable, and then dependable cash flow.
Yes.
Because the incentives change, and then you end up like, you're selling investors on the vision much more than you're selling customers, I think, at that point, which, is just the way that market goes, right? It's how you play it. But like, I can't tell you how many times I like see these like crazy websites that are like so insane for a product that like doesn't exist. And like the websites are like some animation where you scroll through and go through the eye of some little telescope and see the galaxy beyond. And you're like, what the fuck does this thing actually do? And then like you realize, oh, okay, it's not for plebeians like me. It's for VCs that see a vision here to make $100 billion.
Wow. Yeah. That's some website. You're right. It exists only for investors. It's a very different game. Like the education space, the agency space, like education's like more of a cash flow business. Agency's like, cool. Could you sell it? You probably could do, once you're at a certain size with them. SaaS though is a very different beast. It's not a cash flow business at all. It's, but the difference is the multiple you get on earnings. And that's really it's not like I'm now making $500K a month, because it's like, that's not really its job. Obviously that's great. It's more about like the leverage you get on it, in the sense of you get a customer base of say 100,000 users. Cool. But I mean, this was the whole Microsoft purchase, dude. Like when Apple was buying, I forgot what the purchase was, but they purchased a software only because every single one of the users was also the perfect buyer for this really cool freaking product they had. So they immediately, even if they paid like $1 billion for it, they got all the leverage on it. So it's a very different business. It's a very slow burn thing. It's very different dynamic. Would you recommend that somebody fresh out the gates go and start a SaaS? Well, you could do, but I think that the quickest pathway is probably just building up your commercial acumen, learning AI automations and crushing it with that. I still believe very strongly that's like the route forward. I mean, it's just still an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, 80-20 for sure. I mean, I can't tell you how many SaaS companies I started, Jack, that are just gone. They dematerialized like, Spider-Man. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Literally SaaS after SaaS for Nick's ride.
Dude, do you know what, dude? That is a sign of somebody like, who was it who said this? They said, look, there is a 0% chance that you will lose all of your money on this. There's a spectrum of outcomes. One is that this crashes and burns spectacularly and we all have a fun story to tell. One of the outcomes is we get bought out by Facebook, and a lot in between. Like, it's like actually having that realism, like if you're getting investment, which by the way, for anyone watching, I would delay as long as humanly possible, cash flow as far as you can. It is cool. And people are like, 4% chance you lose everything. 20% chance you become a billionaire. I don't know. Yes. I mean, that's like, I don't know, that position is cool. So it's like, you got to have that, like, I think, dude, tell me what you think, Nick. I think one of the hardest skills for an entrepreneur is to know when to take some behind the barn and shoot it.
Yes, I would agree. Like Old Yeller style. I was just pulling up a quote that I read once that stuck with me, and it was related to your point about how, like that's part of the thing. But you ever hear this quote? Somebody like made an old newspaper ad forever ago, and it was like a very, very, very long time ago. I think it was like back in like the 1800s when they were doing some Arctic expeditioning, and it was men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. And it was like one of the most successful ads ever.
Wow.
That's how I feel about the SaaS journey. Like many months of making ramen. No, I don't mean to shit on you. You're fine. But I mean, like if you're a beginner and you've never built any sort of business and you embark on the SaaS journey, it's like many, many months of bitter nights eating ramen, but some form of honor guaranteed. And then if it works, you end up freaking Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, 100%. What's unique about the way that I'm going to be doing this is like, it's like what I'm going to bring is more strategic insight, and I'm not going to be doing the do in a sense, because we can just pay people to do that. So
you got the distribution though too, right? Like that's a big chunk of it. I imagine that's a big chunk of your value.
Yeah. Distribution, God willing, and then also just knowledge. Like I don't need to be the one touching the buttons. We can just kind of say, hey, this is strategic insight. Do you know what it is, Nick? It's like this is the big thing. It's like, it's not about like time in the thing. It's more about like leverage, like output that you can drive with like, let me just save you 40 hours of your time. Do this thing instead, because there's a million reasons why this thing doesn't work. So the actual ask and requirement of time is really, really low. It's just not really required. So it's very different like that. So my main focus is still my community and like kind of the agency thing, but it's like, this is like spin it up and have a beautiful thing. And yeah, very, very, very excited about that, man. I think it's going to be cool. Spectrum outcomes are very wide. So when I come in next week and I'm like, Nick, it's been the craziest week ever, dude. It crashed.
Just raised $8 billion.
we just bought Facebook, man. This is crazy.
We reverse retro acquired Windsurf for the 40th time.
Yeah, dude. Or did you see the ramen noodles, dude? That's it. It's good. You gotta get founder's mindset.
School games trophies just replaced with like a bunch of ramen packets. You're like
some ramen noodles in the back, dude. 100%. Dude, anything else crazy happening this week though in the world that you want to touch on the AI space? What's anything caught your eye?
Cool things in the AI space. Let me think here. No, I don't really think so. Not to be a total buzzkill, but like it has just been more of the same. My Twitter feed has been blowing up with like, this new model is the best in the world. And it's like, well, yeah, that's right. It's the new model. And next week there'll be another model that's the best in the world at that particular benchmark. I don't think like capabilities have really been slowing down on the frontier.
Yeah.
Obviously we saw those massive like 0 to 0.9 jumps with like when ChatGPT dropped and then like the couple ensuing years. But yeah, nothing like a phase change like you were talking about. Agent obviously seems pretty dope. I'm going to just queue up a bunch of like little one-off tasks that I have and I'm going to see how it does. I can potentially see a future where my to-do list has like different tiers and it's like human or agent. And then if it's like an agent thing, my to-do list just automatically goes and sends it to an agent to like give me a draft. That'd be pretty sick. But yeah, nothing super cool. And I got to evaluate a lot heavier, I think, before fully committing to something like that.
I think so, dude. Dude, do you think we're in they call it like these AI winters? Like, and I guess everyone has a different expression for what an AI winter is. Everyone watching is basically like periods of like no meaningful or substantial improvement. You can call that to some extent in the attention economy around AI. I would say, it's my take. If I look at the whole like interest in AI space, it has these periods of like explosive growth. What's your take on where that's at right now, Nick? Are you seeing like, do you think in terms of like people attention and like new eyeballs coming to AI, do you think that's rocketing up? Do you think that's static? Do you think that's its growth rates decreased a little bit? What's your kind of pulse on that?
Have you had a chance to look at like the Google search trends graph for AI agents recently?
Dude, I have not. Right now.
Damn interesting. So head over to Google search trends, type in AI agent, and then just see where we're at with that. To make a long story short, saw a massive spike a couple months ago. That spike peaked And now we are very definitively on like the decline of interest in AI agents. Why? Because a bunch of people started using the technology, and then a bunch of people started being like, I could make money selling the idea of this technology. And then a bunch of people started cherry picking examples from AI agents to sell to other people. And so it was this big knock on positive effect, positive feedback loop until, human beings started the market, the wider market and companies started being like, oh yeah, this technology isn't all there yet. And then like interest has been dissipating. So yeah, I mean the spike was a couple months ago, I would say. So we're definitely on like the downward trend of unfounded optimism in the space. And typically the way that this works is you'll have like the big spike, and then you'll have all the unfounded optimism, and then you'll have unfounded pessimism because people are like, this technology sucks. Same thing happened with ChatGPT if you zoom out there. And then the technology actually gets really good, and then the positive feedback cycle starts again, but this time it like persists and stays forever. So I think that we're kind of in that weird kind of uncanny valley right now for sure with agents, and maybe the ChatGPT agent drop will help with that. I don't know, but those are my thoughts on it. Yeah,
I agree. Because I had a look at like just total number of views in this space as a whole, and to me, it seems like it's kind of trending downwards a little bit in terms of total number of like just attention in it, like. So I thought that was quite interesting. And I also think actually, because if I just zoom out, I think if we think of macro triggers that you would see, what is an example of a macro trigger? If Stephen Bartlett's talking about AI agents, you've entered the mainstream. I think Stephen Bartlett's with entrepreneurs doing stuff, but let's talk about it. Like if mainstream podcasters are talking about agents, it's kind of it's like that kind of thing when your taxi driver tells you to buy Bitcoin, sell everything immediately.
You're like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I doing here?
Did you know there was a story of a trader? This was around like the year 2000. It's a classic story where he just like signed stocks, and he was like, dude, I'm like selling my cab, I'm buying all these shares. And the guy was like, he got to the office, he's like, Jeeves, liquidate everything, and he put the phone down because he's like, this is absolutely gonna freaking pop. For our purposes though, I think it is like it's attention. I think it's if you have the eyeballs that get progressively educated the more time they exist in the space, and then you have the new influx coming in as we kind of push on that like a technology adoption curve. And I think because you're right, you hit me on the head, bro. We're not like informed. How did you describe it? As like
it was like unfounded pessimism and unfounded optimism.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of the position where it's at. The shine, the glow, the honeymoon period is kind of like ended. Now the rubber hits the road. You got to kind of do the work a little bit. And some people don't like that dirty 4-letter word. And yeah, I think that's it. And it's like, because we do exist in a very exciting space, and I feel very privileged to be in that space. But it is also driven massively by new. Like new is the thing that drives it a lot. So I actually we see that a little bit.
Totally. And I think another little macro trend is when you see people repackaging the idea of the space in a bunch of different ways. Yeah. We were chatting about this before, but like the big keyword that everybody was using up until recently was automation, right? It was like automation this, automation that, automation that. And it's kind of like drop shipping in that way, where people would say drop shipping over and over and over and over again. But then eventually dropshipping had like a negative connotation or whatnot, because people were associating dropshipping with outcomes that they did not believe were like really possible or whatnot. And this tends to happen the longer a space, or like conceptually in like the mimetic landscape, like an idea takes hold, right? The longer it is, the older it becomes, and the more people are like, no, that's old news. I want something new. But consider like just changing the term AI automation to AI like growth partner, or AI systems, or AI operator, AI operating systems or whatever. I remember you made a video that was about that. Like every time that you do these little spins, all of a sudden there's so much more interest in it. And the reason why is because there's interest in the concept, but then terms become overloaded. And so what you need is a new vehicle to carry the concept forward, like, AI operating systems or whatever. So I feel like that's playing into it as well. Like we're probably going to see some pivots on the term agent, and it's going to be like basically the same thing as an agent, but it'll be using different terminology. Definitely keep an eye out for that, because whoever coins that next damn term that's like good, that's sticky, that's what you're going to want to jump on as like a concept.
Dude, a lot of people have put the bets out on it. Kind of like they're all kind of reaching at the same thing. They're just kind of like, okay, it's like I don't know what would be a good analogy. They're going to use a biological analogy. It's kind of like they're just kind of drawing a line around slightly different things. Like you could say AI agency, AI growth partner. Your interpretation of what an AI agency is could actually just be exactly what they're now calling a growth partner. It's just it's a new thing. It's like the language. But dude, that's the death cycle, bro, isn't it? Nick and I were talking about this offline. This idea that like AI agency was big, new, exciting. Everyone got behind it. We woke up one day and Nick, we said, you know, man, we don't care about AI. Like, God, that's old. Get that the hell out of here, dude. We're now in the growth partner section. Now, and it's like, you know, it's a new thing. It's a new thing to talk about. It's just like a new evolution of it and stuff. And one of the reasons why I believe that the general like new fresh eyeballs have kind of changed slightly, because I looked at someone did a video on this new concept, and I had to look at like how does that perform, how's that carrying in the audience. It didn't have the same burst of power and energy that maybe the automation agency thing did a year ago. And so I'm like, I see these things. I'm like, okay, these are data points, right, bro? You have your own intuition. You have your own. These are kind of interesting data points that you just kind of take note of a little bit.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk trading? This is betting on a concept. You know, it's like literally betting on a concept while it's like undervalued, and then like seeing it ride up, and then like exiting a concept at the peak. Dude, it's hilarious, man.
You got to know when to jump ship, dude. You can't.
Dude, I'm riding AI automation to the ground, Jack. I'll be with this ship like fucking Captain Jack Sparrow or whatever.
You'd be sinking with AI automation. I think AI automation is still there. It's just like people are describing different aspects of it, I think is the thing. But it's like the second, dude, this happened with Make.com, RIP, because the second I mean, one of the things with podcasts is just like no bullshit talk, isn't it, bro? The second that NA10 hit a critical mass, Make was fried. Like Make was like, especially in the creator economy, it was like, it's over. Like it is a complete losing bat. Like it hit this momentum tipping point, bro. Do you remember what it was like a few months ago? But then it was like you could do a Make video, and I'm judging this, by the way, based on audience reception on the product. Yeah. It was like it went from being like great. Everyone had sort of basically left, apart from your kind of like people who were hanging on to it. Like that happened so quickly with that company. And I do wonder, like internally, what those numbers look like with that company at the moment.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to see. It's crazy to me because the functionality did not change. The platform is still
not a single
great,
thing.
And they do really, like, you can do whatever the hell you want with any of these no-code platforms, and you can crush it. It's just about like the person using the tool, right? Not really the tool itself. But yeah, it's just like, man, it's like there was this critical mass, this dam that broke, and then all of a sudden, like search volume for N8N just like spiked up through the damn roof. And I'm wondering, is that going to happen again? Are we going to see that same trend play out with this now? Is it going to be something else? You know, I mean, there's so many no-code tools out there. You know, when it was like, Claude can code your N8N workflows, and like that was obviously mostly revealed to be bullshit. Hopefully now everybody sees that. Maybe, I was like, oh, is that going to be the new thing? And it's going to be like AI no-code or something, right?
Well, it's like, you know that N8N is releasing that, right? Apparently, like there's some developer conference or something. They're going to like do their whole like text to thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that they are. It's really good that they are, because they have the highest shot of actually making it work, right? Like they have their own internal database of tools and stuff like that. They're obviously like really good developers. So I mean, like, yeah, it's good that they do that, because that's where the space is moving eventually. And it's just like the unfounded optimism and now sort of unfounded pessimism stage of the AI making the workflows, right? Pretty soon we're going to get to the point where we can, and then it'll be like founded optimism, and then it'll just go through the roof. So I'm looking forward to that.
Because no one runs out of the lab anymore with a fully baked solution.
Yeah.
You're never going to outcompete that. You're never not going to hit that cycle ever.
Absolutely. That's just how it always is, right?
You're going to be flagged.
We're launching before we build, and that's what all these damn big companies are doing too, and that's what the memetic economy is doing. Yeah.
So it's almost like, I guess people are buying on the potential. Basically, you're buying on. There's something here. I actually, I believe we're in the Goldilocks zone of you can pretty much do anything you want. We're past the point where we can pretty much do anything you want, but before the point at which it does it all itself. which is like this beautiful opportunity zone. The classic example is if I did my last startup, I wouldn't need to hire the CTO anymore because I could just build the things I need to build. So I think and it's that kind of like, it requires work. It's not quite perfect. You've got to plug things in, and so it's like that there is a draw and appeal to that. I think that draws a lot of people in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dude, the promise of get money without doing work is one as old as time. You could probably see that carved in some Sumerian stone tablet from fucking 4,000 years ago. Like, that's what people have been selling with this. That's what people are been really selling the whole time. Mm-hmm. So if AI can just do it all, yeah, I mean, like, you might as well ride that wave, man. I mean, we're very adjacent to the space. I totally understand why people are pitching it the way that they are. The incentives are obviously there. But yeah, like, I think that, what did you say earlier? If you sell somebody like a bag of tricks, they're only going to buy it the first time. Like, I think that there are longer term reputational impacts to like hitching a ride on a shitty wagon. And so you should probably you should skip that unfounded optimism. And then you should just wait until the founded optimism. Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah. And this is why I say to the guys a lot, like in my community, I was like, dude, there's so many things I look at that I just don't make content on. Like I've forgotten the classic example of this was like the Claude browser thing. Mm-hmm. I was like, I looked at that and it was crap, to be honest with you. It didn't do crap. And but like, if you wanted quick, easy views, this Claude browser is changing the world. Go watch this video and it'll wipe your ass and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? So you got to pick the bits that you look at and stuff. But like, you're right. It's like people like don't waste their time. Like, it's like you can waste that time a little bit, like if you like, but I just think long term it's not a good play, dude. This is not a good play at all. So Agreed. Do we think then that we're moving away from, at some point, agents is going to be fried? I think the concept's really powerful, but maybe we're just going to call it something else and effectively the exact same thing.
For sure. We'll call it like autonomous AI or like self-directed AI or something. Like it's going to be the same shit, but it's not going to have that negative association that the unfounded pessimism hit, So for sure, bro, we're going to see tons of stuff. And if anybody here wants to coin the term self-directed AI, just make sure you put me somewhere in the description.
Put somewhere in the description. I like that, dude. I like that a lot. But it's like, I think if we get to like ring fence for stuff, the opportunity is genuinely freaking awesome. It's just, this is just all what we're kind of touching on a lot is the attention economy and the movements and the naming conventions and things like that. Just a bit of wisdom on what that looks like.
Yeah, for sure. It's just noise at the end of the day. That's what all this is. The underlying signal is still because that's the premise and power of these technologies. And basically every business on planet Earth knows enough about this now to want and feel like they desperately need it. So if you can position yourself as the right person to provide that, you are in a very good spot over the course of the next decade or so.
Beautiful. And so by the time we're looking next week, Nick, we're going to have more $100 million investments on the horizon, dude.
Looking forward to hearing, man. Yeah, you and the whole windsurf team at your back. That'll be pretty fun.
But like in general, but every week now there's some crazy freaking investment happening. So we'll see what cooks up in the next 7 days.
Crossing fingers, man. Great pod as per usual.
Dude, beautiful.